Hi everyone, welcome to eLearnChat, where talk is knowledge. Here we go. Hi everyone, I'm Rick Zanotti, and I am joined today by Lisa Goldstein, who's right on top over here in the monitor. And beneath us, our guest today is Kelly Phillips from boostinteractivemedia.com. Well, welcome everyone.
Hello.
Good morning.
Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've got a varied background, and you're doing something pretty cool right now. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure. So I have been a training professional for about the past 20 years. I started out as an opera performance major in college and got a job on campus teaching faculty and staff how to use computers. So that kind of pulled me into the training world, and I fell in love with it, changed my major, and became a corporate trainer. And I've been doing that ever since. So things like e-learning, everything from stand-up face-to-face to e-learning, just about anything with training, I've tackled it and tried to do that. So now I am transitioning into owning my own business, which is an interesting experience, trying to take all of those corporate training skills and turn it into a business that's really not a traditional thing. And we can talk a little bit more about that. But I think one of the things I really wanted to share with everyone today was some tips that I have for finding a job in the training field.
And that is something that, boy, we have a desperate need for. There's a lot of people out of work. It's not a great economy, even for professionals right now. So I think everybody's going to be looking forward to that one. And Lisa, you're going to be manning the chat room also?
Yes, so far no questions.
Okay.
But Kelly, the way that she does that is through this wonderful L&D job board on LinkedIn. You should talk about that, Kelly.
Yes, so last year, I think it was about a year ago, I was looking around at some options. You know, I knew I probably wanted to start my own business. My company was getting ready to go through a merger. I knew I was going to be laid off, and I didn't know for sure if I'd be able to transition straight into a business. So I started looking around on LinkedIn, and there were no really good job resources at the time for people in the training field. So I started the Learning and Development Careers Board, and we have almost 1,000 members now. You'll hear, I guess, a little bit more about what I'm doing. I've been very busy doing some other things, and so we're just really ramping up the board again to give you career advice, advice on interviewing, all kinds of things on that board. So it's Learning and Development Careers is the name of the group if you want to find it on LinkedIn.
You know, you give back to the community in so many ways. You're so generous in helping individuals. You also care a lot about people networking properly, especially at events. I know you have your Red Feather networking group. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that is, I call it a passion project with my good friend and business partner, Michelle Lawson. We started Red Feather Networking at the ASTD International Conference in 2011. There was a whole group of trainers from all over the world who kind of met online and started talking, and then met at the conference, and we wore red feathers in our badges so we could recognize each other, because if you've never been there, it's a huge conference. And it kind of went viral. We were passing out red feathers like crazy. We've done it every year since. And so we've started a blog and then started a little bit of a business around teaching you how to do what we did, how we learned what to do. So that's at redfeathernetworking.com. And that's another one of my projects. I am pretty busy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So, so now you're the CEO of Boost International Media, where you help
Interactive Media.
Interactive Media, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
And you're doing a lot around WordPress, so that's really exciting.
Yes, definitely. And that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. I was planning maybe more towards the end was, you know, how you can, as a learning professional, you have a lot of marketable skills. If you are interested in starting your own business, I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well.
What are the kinds of things that you do to help WordPress users? I feel a little selfish on that topic as I think about my website, LD Global Events, which is powered by WordPress. What are the kinds of things that I might be able to learn from you?
So there's really two sides to my business. One side is I actually build WordPress websites. So if somebody is interested in having a WordPress website, but they don't want to tackle it themselves, we do build websites for you. And then the other side is training, because of course I have to use my corporate training skills in any business that I start. So I've started a website, just launched I think 2 days ago, called wpplugincoach.com. And right now, if you go there, I do have a blog where I review WordPress plugins, and I do offer local training classes, in-person classes right now here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I will eventually, hopefully in the next couple of months, have an online training program, probably a membership subscription site, where during the time when you're building your website, you can purchase a subscription and get access to training on all of the best WordPress plugins. And if you don't know what a WordPress plugin is, it is the way that you extend the functionality of your website. So if you want to add on an e-commerce store, or you want to do extra things with social sharing, you need a plugin to do that. And there are almost 30,000 WordPress plugins out there on the market. And so I'm going to help you kind of navigate those waters and save you a lot of time and frustration in figuring out what to do on your own website.
Yeah, I remember when we first started doing WordPress, we did a couple plugins, and one of them just took the whole site down. It was scary.
The white screen of death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we went, uh-oh. Yeah, WordPress is fun. It's a lot of fun. We've been using it on our RELATECASTS for the shows. We have WordPress, and then we use Adobe Muse for our corporate site. And they're both really good. They're different. One's very different. One's a content manager. The other one's a website builder. But it's kind of nice. What made you get into WordPress, of all things?
That's a great question. So I've been designing websites since college, since the early 90s, and it used to be you had to hard code everything. And when things progressed into heavy coding, JavaScript, I kind of backed out because I'm not a coder, you guys. I'm a creative. And then when WordPress came up, it's a platform that really allows anybody to design websites. And if you're very technical, because while I'm not a coder, I am a very technical person, you can get very deep into building some very sophisticated websites with WordPress. But also, if you're a light user, if you're a business owner and you have other talents and you're just building a website for your own business, it's also easy enough for you to use. So when WordPress came on the market, I jumped back in, and I'm about as passionate about WordPress as I am about training. So I just combined those two things into a business, and it's working really well.
Kelly, what do you think it is about you that makes you so passionate about giving back to the community? I know we should probably spend a little bit more time talking about, how you help individuals find jobs. But first, how do you, or what is it that drives you, that makes you want to do so much? Because you do so many wonderful things for the community.
Well, thank you. I think it's that trainer in me. Even when I'm not in a situation where I am a trainer, I find myself teaching. And the reward that you get back from helping other people succeed and helping other people develop, it's priceless. And so I gravitate toward doing things that help other people succeed. So that's why I end up getting myself into probably too many things at once, but it's also a lot of fun, and that's what makes life worth living. So.
That's great. So you do have this wonderful service that you do so much. Whenever somebody comes to me and says, "Lisa, I'm looking for a job. Have you heard of anything?" And I always think, "Oh, Kelly Phillips. Let me introduce you to Kelly. Kelly, knows so many people. Kelly's well networked. Kelly has such great, advice to give job seekers." And you tend to give, every time I send someone to you, you start to give them kind of the same advice. Will you tell everyone here, that kind of advice that you start to give everyone?
Yes, there are 3 large pieces. Now, we could spend hours, but I've narrowed it down to the 3 things that I think have the most impact for somebody who is looking for a job, not just in the L&D field. Some of it is specific, but a lot of this will work in other fields as well. So the first thing that you really need to focus on is your LinkedIn profile, because let's face it, a hiring manager, when they're filling for a position, they check you out on LinkedIn. They do, whether they're supposed to or not. they do. So LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. So picture this. There's a hiring manager, and they have 6 fabulous resumes sitting in front of them for one training job. They can only bring in 3 people for an interview. How are they going to make that choice to who is going to be coming in for the interview? Well, your LinkedIn profile is a chance to make you stand out so that you get one of those interview slots. So make sure your LinkedIn profile isn't just a copy of your resume. You really need to use it to show a little bit of your personality, show that hiring manager who you are so that they want to bring you in. A couple of ways to do that. Number one, and I'm going to go fairly quickly because you can get great LinkedIn advice all over the internet, but your professional headline, and it's the line that is just below your name. LinkedIn puts your job title in there. Okay, that is a waste of space. That line right there is the biggest thing you can do for searches, for coming up in searches. So think about this. If there's a recruiter and they're filling your dream job, what words would they search on to find a candidate? Come up with 3 words. Those are the words that should be in that line. So you could put instructional designer, comma, e-learning designer, comma, learning professional. Whatever those 3 words are that you think the recruiter is going to look for when they're looking for your dream job should be in that line.
And it looks like yours are WordPress expert, entrepreneur, and instructional designer.
Yes. Yep, and I change them every once in a while too, just to kind of mix it up and have show up in different searches. So it's okay to update that profile. It doesn't have to stay static. One of the other big things you can do is your job titles. So we all know, if you're in training, you know that training job titles can be a little generic. Training specialist 2. What does a training specialist 2 do? It's different at every company. So what you want to do is use some of those keywords in the job title. So you might put training specialist 2, comma, and then let's say that you tested e-learning modules when they went into the LMS, and that's an important skill. So you might say training specialist 2, comma, e-learning tester or e-learning Q&A. So add to the job title with some of those keywords, and that also is going to help you come up better in searches.
Now, it's interesting because one of the titles we gave my wife, who works with us and does all of the LMS deploys, we actually call her the deploy monkey. I don't know. On this job search, I'm not sure about that one. But anyway, that's our joke name for her. You're the deploy monkey. And her response is usually eep, eep. So it's
she's going to need to add some keywords to that.
That's right. How many keywords can you have?
I usually say between 3 and 7. The earlier in the line a keyword is, the more weight it has in searches. Okay. So you could even put your keywords before your official title, or shorten your title so that it's not as long. Yeah, those are pretty much my LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a great tool, and it will help you stand out from the crowd. Your summary, I guess, is the last thing I would say. Your summary, please don't make it like the paragraph on your resume. That summary on your resume has a purpose, and it's good for that. But your summary on your LinkedIn profile, show some personality. Talk about the great things or why you're passionate about what you do. Say something that's going to intrigue those hiring managers in a good way, and get them to bring you in.
Now, I have a question. Do you have any advice regarding endorsements? Now, everybody endorses everybody, and we tend to all kind of go into blind endorsements really quickly, doing 10, 12 people at a time. Yeah. How do you thank someone for an endorsement? Because I've tried a couple of times, and it just doesn't quite work. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I thank someone individually quickly without having to go find their profile again and do it as a message? Is there a quick way to do that?
That's a great question. And endorsements are an interesting animal. I don't think that they fully developed it, because I know I have people endorse me. People who don't know me will endorse me for things. Right. And I think it's because it pops up on top of the screen. So I think that in general, we need to be more careful about who we endorse. We need to make sure that if we're going to endorse somebody, we really know about their skills. Then those endorsements mean more. In terms of thanking them, there really isn't any built-in tool other than clicking on their profile, sending them a note, or just endorsing them back for something that that they do. But you're right, there really isn't a good, easy way to do that.
Yeah, because I always feel like, shouldn't we be endorsing them back?
Yeah, and you don't have to. Really, if they do have a skill that and you'd like to endorse them for, do it. But it doesn't have to be a give and take kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the people seem to come back all the time. In other words, the same endorsement, same person shows up 30 times, sometimes even in a couple of days. And you go, I can't endorse them again 30 times. It gets a little old.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. You're right. I don't think they've quite figured it out. But it's a nice idea because it's a quick way to say, hey, I like this person. They do a good job.
It is, and I'll give another quick tip. You don't want to have too many areas in your endorsements area. Like you can end up having 35, I think is the limit or something like that. If you go into your profile, when you edit your profile and eliminate the ones that don't really apply or the ones that you're not focusing on, people will be more likely to endorse you for the ones that are left. So if you want to get a lot of endorsements under instructional design and some particular training skills, delete all those other skills off your endorsements and people will start to endorse the ones you've left.
Now, I got one endorsement not long ago which cracked me up. It said I was good with animals.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
And I was
It's
going,
the monkey thing.
how did I get this one? And, I've had lots of dogs, and I go, our staff maybe? I don't know. I mean, where did this come from? But so you just kind of wonder sometimes where, I don't know how they make it up or where they get some of it from, but there's some really strange endorsements out there.
It's interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Lisa, do you have any questions from the chat room?
Yeah, none in the. Oh, whoops! One just came in. It says I tend to never approve endorsements to show in my profile because so many of them come from people who have no idea what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it pops up on the top of your LinkedIn screen, and you just click it without thinking, or
Do you find that more people, especially professionals, are using LinkedIn over any other network as far as job searching and things like that?
Absolutely. LinkedIn, in terms of job searching and professional networking, LinkedIn is the place to be, the place to go, without a doubt. Recruiters are using LinkedIn daily to find you. So if you're not on LinkedIn, if you haven't spent time on your profile, you really need to go do that.
Yeah, that's good advice.
You have a term that you use, presume. Is that your term, or did that come from someplace else?
No, that is not my term. Presume is kind of a trend that started about 2 years ago, and I'm actually surprised it hasn't caught on a little more. A presume is like a little video about you. It's like a commercial about you.
Okay.
And one of the best places to go to make a presume is at sliderocket.com. So SLIDE rocket.com. And again, it's a way to differentiate yourself from those other 6 people who are competing for that interview. So if you go on to SlideRocket, it's free to use, and they have music, they have animations. It's a little bit like PowerPoint. You can go on and just create a little presentation about you. The way that you should think about this is, okay, what are the best things about me in the context of this job that I can't get across on my resume? So I have one friend who went in there and said, she's really good at building training departments from the ground up. So she flashed up text on the screen, and she talked about how she's built training departments from the ground up, why she loves doing it, how passionate she is about it. She included some photos of herself training. And then it was a minute or less is good. You don't want it to be more than 1 minute. But it highlights those things about you that maybe that hiring manager can't pick up from the resume. And again, it's meant to intrigue them and get them to bring you in the door for the interview.
That's great. That's a great way for them to see your personality, something a piece of paper, paper resume can't do.
Actually, absolutely. And anything you can do to give more information than is on that resume. Like, the resume is great for your skills, but there's so much more to the picture. They want to know if you fit with the culture of the company, if you're going to fit with the team. What is your sense of humor? They want to know all of these things, and this is your chance to show who you are. So, and put the link on the resume, put the link on LinkedIn, link it everywhere so that they'll go watch it.
Rick, have you ever made a resume?
No, not really. We've done videos, corporate videos, but I haven't done a resume. It's a really good idea.
It is a good idea.
Yeah, and it works. It really works.
Well, it personalizes everything. I remember, when was it? Probably back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, there were dating sites and everybody had to do videos to get to meet someone. And I keep thinking of the resume as almost one of those kind of things. Never did one of those, but I thought it was interesting. So yeah, it's kind of fascinating. But you're right; it personalizes everything, warms it up, and gives you a chance to present yourself. Though I guess the caveat to that is be careful, do it right, or people are going to go, oh, this looks
Right.
really hokey, or it looks unprofessional. The music choice is going to be real critical. If you do use music, you could turn someone off real quickly with music. So it's just some of those things you have to be a little careful about.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to send the link out to colleagues and friends who will critique it for you.
Good
And
idea.
what you want them to look at is, does this represent me? Like when you see this, does it truly represent who I am? And that's going to help you out a lot. Definitely have people critique it before you send it out.
I suppose you have to be really good on camera too. I always feel funny when I do this with you, Rick, because the camera always makes me feel a little stiff. I always feel, and then I can't stand to watch my own recording because I always think I look and sound like a complete geek on camera.
You look fine.
You do great.
You look fine. We're focusing on you right now.
Oh,
You
great.
look fine.
But yeah, so I guess that gives you some good practice, right, Kelly?
Yeah, well, and with the resume, you don't actually have to be on camera yourself. You can incorporate video, or you can even just do a YouTube video. But with the resume, you don't have to have actual video. It's more like PowerPoint.
Oh, that's actually a great idea.
So it creates a video for you.
Yeah, it takes like the PowerPoint and the animations and the music and everything and puts it together. Maybe more like a Captivate module or something like that, or like a Camtasia.
Sure.
You Camtasia PowerPoint and add music. It's really, the end result is more like that.
That's nice.
So you don't have to do the video because that is always a little dangerous, honestly.
Yeah.
So have we missed any of the ways, your big ways that you give back to the community?
Giving back to the community, I mean, I do a ton of different things. I help organize conferences. I've got a conference coming up in March, Digital Marketing for Business, here in Raleigh that I'm helping to organize. I also, for the last couple of years, I've helped organize a local women's conference for mom business owners called Illuminate, which happens in the fall. Giving back on the entrepreneur side is a big thing for me too, because again, being so passionate about starting my own business and helping other people succeed. And I'll talk for just a minute, because if you're in a corporate job and you're finding yourself being less than happy, changing jobs was an option, and that's some of the things that we've talked about. But you can also create your own business. And it was interesting. I had a medical issue in 2011 that really caused me to reevaluate my life and say, you know what, I think there's more to life than what I'm doing. And so I started on this 3-year journey of what does that mean? And for me, it ended up meaning entrepreneurship. So once I decided I want to start my own business, I thought, okay, that's great. Now what do? I didn't want to take my training skills and just start a training firm, because I felt like if I was going to do the training stuff, I would rather do it in a corporate environment where somebody else is selling it and I'm not having to handle everything. I can just focus on pure training. So I thought, how else? And that's when kind of the WordPress passion came up. I teach WordPress at community college in the continuing education program. And I thought, well, why not take this passion for WordPress, this ability to design websites, and my skills that I've developed for 20 years in the corporate training world and roll it all together. And so that's where I've created Boost Interactive Media and WP Plugin Coach to just pull all of those things together. So I would encourage you, if you're feeling less than satisfied with a corporate job and you're looking for other alternatives, think about how you can use your skills. And some examples that I wanted to bring up for you are, we all know that public speakers get up there and that there's a big difference between lecturing and actually teaching or training. And a lot of public speakers don't really know that. They don't have an instructional design background or an adult learning theory background. So could you take your background in instructional design and become sort of a speechwriter for speakers who are speaking at conferences, doing keynotes, help them design their speeches so that they're really teaching and not just lecturing? That's one business idea. Another business idea is, because the job market has been so bad, there has been a huge resurgence of entrepreneurship. Everybody's starting their own business. So easy to do. Great time to be starting your own business. There's a great market for small businesses right now. But a lot of these entrepreneurs are wanting to create online training products because that's a great form of passive income. You create the training product, it's out there, people buy it over and over again. The problem is, if you're a photographer and you're creating an online training product, you have no idea how to teach. So you do your best, you get Camtasia. A lot of them are using Camtasia, and they're creating these training programs that aren't as effective as they could be. So you, as the training professional, could create your own business, helping entrepreneurs create online training products and put them out there. So I would encourage you to be creative. Think about your skills and what you love about your job and the things that you would want to do even if you didn't get paid for it. And think about how you could create a business. Maybe do a little freelancing on the side and see how you like it and start out that way.
Yeah, those are really good ideas. Though I did have a moment of flinching terror when I thought of an instructional designer writing a speech. Can you imagine that? I mean, somewhere in the middle of it saying, "That's very good. Now cross your other leg."
Yeah.
Very good. Now applaud. It's like
Yeah.
we're gonna have fun with that one. Kelly, we'd love to have you back on.
I would love to be back.
And this time full time, so we can get to right at the beginning. We had some Skype problems early this morning. That's why we started a couple minutes late, but we got those resolved and everything was good. But Kelly, I feel we shortchanged you, and we've got to call this show a show in about a minute. But definitely would love to have you back on. I think we've only touched the tip of what you'd like to talk about. So I think it'll be fun to have you back on.
I would love to be back. Just let me know when.
That sounds great. And Lisa, as always, you are such a nice person to always
Thank you.
come on at the last moment and take over. Dawn had, I guess, an emergency meeting to go to, and so you're just a trooper. Thank you so much for always being there, and we appreciate it.
Well,
and you look great on camera.
Just hang out and chat.
Yeah, and don't worry about the camera. It's your friend. Remember that.
It is.
I'd rather talk to you in person, Rick.
Yeah, well, that's fun too. But no, definitely don't worry about cameras. You always do a good job. And for you guys in the chat room, thanks for being there. I know it was kind of a quiet chat room today. And for everyone who is watching the recording, please subscribe and give us your feedback. We always love hearing from you. Anything we can do to make the show better, like maybe start on time, please let us know. And again, Kelly, thanks for being here, and we will see you soon again. Are you going to be at any shows or anything else soon besides the one you told us about?
I have a ton of things going on. You can check out my website, boostinteractivemedia.com, and see what I'm doing. I've got all kinds of things coming up.
Yeah,
so.
You did a nice website, too. We showed it a little bit earlier. You did a good job on that.
Well, thank you.
At first, when I got to it, I go, is that her site? Wait, maybe I'm in the wrong place. Because I didn't expect the WordPress right away. And I went,
yeah.
Then I got it. It took me a second. But anyway, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.